Hi everyone, I'm the Plant Propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is a beautiful day here in Southwest Florida and I'm so excited because my babies are here. So these are my seedlings that I've been deflasking over the past few months. I still have a lot left in the laboratory, but I wanted to show you the progress of some of these guys here. These were brought home really recently, and I'm just going to add them to this group and this group that has already been here, and I want to show you, how they're starting now, and I want to show you how these guys have been progressing. And the growth that I'm seeing in these guys, really since deflasking, is really remarkable. I'm doing some things during the deflasking process that I think is helping out a lot. So I'm doing some things the same, and I'm doing some things different. So the things that I'm doing a little differently, and you can watch some of my videos on this, more recent videos on this, is that I'm using a longer period where I keep them in my bins under very high humidity. So when I first started doing this, and my background, my history, you keep them in the bins for, under very high humidity conditions with non-orchids that I used to deflask. And even with my early days of deflasking, I would leave them in the bins for about a month or 6 weeks. And now I'm leaving these things in the bins for, again, under high humidity. I'm leaving them in there for 2 to 3 months. And during that longer period, and I think it's because, again, what I'm used to is, other plants in the laboratory that are much faster growing, and orchids are slower growing, so maybe the acclimation time is much slower. At least that's my understanding, is the acclimation time is slower. So I leave them in the bins for a lot longer than the plants that I used to work with when I was still with the university. The other thing that I'm doing is with the use of a mycorrhizal inoculum. And I didn't used to do this until I had really one colleague told me that that's what he did, and it made good sense to try a mycorrhizal inoculant on these orchids. And all of these in this group and this newest group, all of them have been inoculated with a mycorrhizal inoculant. Now what I do is, and again I've got a video on this, but what I do is I inoculate these maybe a month after deflasking, and it doesn't hurt them and it can only help them. I'm pretty sure it's beneficial. Unfortunately, I wasn't a good scientist when I did this, and I don't have a plus or minus treatment. But you can see on the leaves of some of these plants, you can see that there is still some of the white residual, either from the carrier or the mycorrhizal inoculant itself. But the plants seem to be doing really, really well after you inoculate with the mycorrhizal. Okay, so let's take a look at these things, and I want to describe them to you in a little bit more detail. So the group over here, I'm looking at the labels, and so these were deflasked. These were in the flask and deflasked 2.5 months ago. And I look at these things and something, something just like this, if I can get it out of here. This is a plant that has a new, when I first deflasked, this was growing out, but then it has this new pseudobulbs coming out, and it looks like there's another pseudobulb that's coming out on this. And this is pretty remarkable. And I'm just looking over here. This is the same thing right here. And I have there's the original plant is here, and there's a new pseudobulb coming out, and then there's another small one growing out at the base. And it may be that these are just it's really vigorous plant. One of the parents here is Orchids Discovery, that is a nice big, huge flowering cattleya. And it may be that the parent is big, and that's what makes this big. Oh, and I'm just looking at the plant. I got to pull this one out. Look at this one. Look at this. This was in a flask. unbelievable. This was in a flask 2.5 months ago. So doing really well. Got new root growth on this plant, and this new, you know, originally it was this tall, and now it's like this new pseudobulb came out, and it just is just huge. All right, so these are doing really well. As I go over to the next group, this is from this orchid here. Let me grab another nice plant right here. So same thing. I'm looking at the dates. Yeah, these were deflasked. Looks like 3 days apart, but this is the same thing here. And these were and two different parents on this, and the parent on one of this is a it's a Brassicattleya. So Clear Stars is one of the parents on this hybrid, which is not really a big Cattleya, but look at these plants that are growing out. You know, again, the original plant might have been here and here, and then in the meantime, you have this new pseudobulb that grew out. So, you know, these things, and I'm looking at them, and they, you know, a lot of them, I mean, they look the same. You know, for seedlings, what you normally are going to buy from some of the vendors and growers that you're used to, they're going to be, you know, bigger than this, or maybe not. But the remarkable thing about this is that these were in flasks 2.5 months ago. That's when they came out. So, you know, it's just, for me, I'm just amazed that these guys are doing well. All right, let's move over to this older group. And I don't have a good, you know, track record in history on these guys, but these were probably deflasked. I would think maybe around 4 months ago, so not that long ago. And there's a whole array, a whole variety of different, you know, different orchids in here. So in this group, and this one, this was put in a big pot because this obviously was a big plant in the flask. And these are still all in 100% orchiata, but these are all, yeah, this one, oh my God, look at this. All right, so these guys, and these are all the same, it's the same hybrid, where Hawaiian Prominence America, which I think is right behind, it's behind me. Yeah, I gotta look, I'm kind of crammed in here. Yeah, so it's that one right, but I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But this Hawaiian Prominence America is a parent on this, which is not, it's a nice grower. Oh, look, here's another one. I think it's the same one. Yeah, so all these, you know, a few months ago, these were still, you know, in flasks. And what you see is really nice growth of the pseudobulbs and these plants. So they're just doing, they're doing remarkably well. Here is, you know, here's here's a Certipodium, and you can't tell, but this is putting out lots of new growth. Here, there is, this is, oh, gotta watch it, don't want to lose my tags. This is right here. This is an Encyclia tampensis, and again, growing out the secondary, you know, secondary pseudobulbs growing out of this. Let me go over here and see if this is the, yeah, this is a different one right here. This is a different hybrid right here, and again, these are all growing out. The other, it's a different one. These two are different, but what's going on is you have this incredible additional pseudobulbs that are growing out on these plants, and again, it's just a really good indicator. I gotta see what this is right here, because this is, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but this new, all right, so this is similar to one that I just pulled out. But the parent, it's interesting. So one of the parents on this is Dick Smith, which is a nice, it's a nice grower. I have it in my collection. I didn't make this cross. One of my orchid growing colleagues did. But still, these things are doing really well. When I move over to this group, I don't know what this is, but it's huge. This is a Digbyana hybrid, and I'm curious to see what this looks like. And I think, is this the same thing? I gotta watch, these things are kind of intertangled. No, this is a different one. So this is a different hybrid from this right here. So I've got a lot of different hybrids in here that are doing really well. They're mostly cattleyas, but I'm gonna pull out, I see right here, right next to it, is a, okay, so these are dendrobiums. But again, these are dendrobiums that were in the flask a few months ago, and they're looking really well. All right, so what do you do? What do I do with these things? So this is a little bit of a issue, a little problem for me, because I don't have space. Right now, these are all 2-inch pots. And the problem with this is that they need to go into, obviously, they're in 2-inch pots. They're growing really well. They could probably stand in here a little bit longer, but they need to go into bigger pots. So what I typically do, and I've shared this with you in the past, is I'll take them out of the orchiata, and I'll put them in what is their final mix, which is right here. So there's lava stone on the bottom and then leca on top. And then again, this is another one of the hybrids that this has probably got transplanted. I'm thinking about maybe 3 months ago, but it's already, because of the conditions here, it's doing extremely well. And here's another one. Let's see what that is. Yeah, so these are two different hybrids, and this is named after my son, and this is named after my son's dog, and they're together in the same container. But new pseudobulb, new growth, roots are growing down into the stuff, and they look well. A little bit longer. So these, I have some over here that I transplanted a few months before the group that I just showed you. And so that's these. So you can see the difference in these plants right here. So these are a little bit older than these, but they seem to be doing, and I'm looking down in the pot, and you can see that the roots are kind of growing along the surface of the leca. Oh man, look at this new. Let's see what this is. Okay, so look at the new pseudobulb growing out on this. So these are newer, so these are a few months longer, but all I'll do is I'll take these, and I'll have another video. I'll do a video on this. So I take these, but I gotta find space for them. I do pick, just so you know, what I do is I pick the best plant, a few of the best plants from each of the crosses that I made, and I'm starting to get into a lot of crosses, and I'm starting to get really nice plants. But I take the best plants, and I take them out of these containers. I shake all of the bark off. I don't tear it off. I kind of shake it off, and then I put them in new containers. These are 4-inch square containers, because what I do, I should show you this, is I can either put them in the trays like this, the black trays here, or what I'd like to do is put them in these hanging baskets, and then I can add them more directly to various places in my collection. I've got these hanging in my pergola, and I've got them hanging on the fence. So I've got these baskets where four 4-inch pots fit in here very nicely. So I shake all of the bark off, and then I place them in the containers, and I just add leca around it, and it stabilizes them nicely. I don't need to stake, and then they'll grow pretty well. All right, so that's all I have. I just wanted to give you an update of some of these plants and how I'm treating them, and give you an idea of how well they look initially and how they're progressing over time. These things I think are going to bloom a little earlier than is typical, because the plants are looking really good and they're pretty vigorous. And again, the challenge is now finding space for all of these plants. All right, so that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed my video with the update of these seedlings. If you liked the video and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for you today again. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.